What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be changing out a kitchen faucet. Right here we have a standard single handle faucet with a sprayer, and we're going to be swapping it out for a high-rise kitchen faucet with a pull-out sprayer, and the brand is a White Falls. So let's get the box open here and see what we got. Okay, there's our faucet. Got our two supply lines, and we got our hose here for the pull-out sprayer. And here's the other end of it. So it looks like, let's see here. Alright, this little adapter here, we'll attach that to one end and the other end to this hose right here. And we're going to be using this plate, that way we can block off the other two holes that are up there. It's a 3-hole faucet that's up there now. This is a single. And we got our bolts and the nuts here to mount the plate, which will go on each end. And we got a rubber washer, a metal washer, and a lock nut with 2 screws that will mount our faucet base to the mounting plate. And inside this box, that's our little weight that will attach to the hose for this pull-out sprayer. Just back out these 2 Phillips screws. This comes apart, and then you attach it to the line, and that is your weight for when you pull out the sprayer. It allows the sprayer to go back up in. So let me get the things removed from underneath the cabinet, and we'll get started. Okay, we got enough stuff removed that we got room to work. And there's our 2 shutoff valves. This one's the hot, cold. I have those off. And if you look up, there's our supply lines going to our faucet. And there's the hose that comes down that goes over to our sink sprayer over there. So now that we got the water off, we'll go ahead and we'll remove the nuts here on each shutoff valve and break them loose, and we'll get the supply lines unhooked. Once you have those removed, you can go ahead and open the faucet up on that side, and we'll drain out the water. Okay, we'll try to slide the bucket over, catch this other one. Okay, now we got the water drained out of the faucet. We'll go ahead and we'll unhook the sink sprayer. Okay, you see the lock nut there on the sink sprayer mount, and there's a gray lock nut there for the faucet, and another one right there. They make a rigid tool that fits right up in there and removes those. I have it, but I just don't have it with me, so I'm going to use pliers to break those free. And I already got the sink sprayer nut loose, so we'll reach up there and start unthreading that. Spin that down. Or you can get a Phillips screwdriver right on the bottom, right there, and just back out that bolt, which, there we go, it's loose. If you don't have that tool to get the nut off, you can do it that way as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take the other side off, and we'll get ready to pull the faucet up out. Okay, now we're up top, so go ahead and lift the faucet up some. And this nut right here, that's the other end of the hose for the sprayer. So we want to go ahead and break this free. Go ahead and spin that off. Now you're going to get a little bit of water from the hose. I got a hold of it from underneath, pulling it down and dropping it right in the bucket. I can drain out the hose. So now we can go ahead and pull the hose out. There it is. Get that out of the way. And then for our faucet, if you can maneuver it to get it up through with the supply lines on, good. If not, then you'll have to break the nut loose here for the supply lines and pull it out. Usually one's shorter than the other. So once you get one through, just angle it so you can get the other through, and it'll pull right out for you. There it is. All right, we got it all cleaned up. Looks pretty good. Still a little bit over here, but the new faucet's gonna cover. All right, and we'll get the plastic off. Grab our mounting plate. The metal lock washer, and screws and rubber washer and flat washer. Get those out. And we'll get our plastic nuts and bolts to mount the faucet to the actual sink itself. It's a pretty easy install. Go ahead and thread these on. Make sure when you thread them on that the Phillips end is sticking out at the bottom. You don't want it backwards to where it's like this, then you're not going to be able to tighten it up. So thread both those in and we'll snug them up with the Phillips. Now get your plate and feed all your hoses through the bottom mounting plate. And look at your faucet, which side's the front. Make sure you have it in the right position. The little UPC logo goes in the back on this one. So that's how it's gonna look, just like this. Okay, and then we're ready to go ahead and drop it down through. And once we have it in position where we need it, we'll go ahead and we'll slide this on the hoses from underneath and tighten it down to the actual plate. So we'll go ahead and set the faucet in place and get ready to mount it. Okay, drop all your hoses down through the middle. And then we'll go underneath, slide up our rubber washer, metal washer, and the lock nut. We'll thread those on and we'll put the two screws in to tighten it down. Okay, and it does help out if you put the two nuts on the plate from underneath first. That way it holds it in place where you want it. And another little tip, spin your faucet towards the back. That way it doesn't fall forward and it helps hold it up straight. So we'll grab our mounting hardware here and we'll come underneath, and all I'm going to do is slide all this over the hoses up to the mounting brass piece there and mount it to the actual sink itself. So let me go ahead and get that threaded on there. Okay, we got all the pieces threaded on there. I got the two screws started and they're up against the washer. And I tightened up the black plastic nut on the right and on the left, so our mount is nice and secure. Now we're just going to grab a Phillips screwdriver and go ahead and tighten up these nuts here. pretty solid. Okay, now we'll go ahead and get ready to hook up the supply lines, and we'll put the weight on the hose for the pull-out sprayer here. Okay, so we'll grab our red supply line. Our supply line with the red markings, which means that's the hot. Hot's on the left. And we'll grab our supply line with the blue markings, which means it's our cold. And we'll go ahead and put that on the cold supply line. So we got both those hand tight, and we'll snug them up with the wrench. Alright, here's our weight. And here's our plastic adapter. One end will attach to this end, and the other will go up there. We need to pull off this little plastic cover that they send to shipping. There we go. Right there, make sure you remove that. Otherwise your adapter will not go on. So we'll go ahead and mount this end. Just push it on like that. Now you can see if it pulls, it's not gonna come off because that piece locks it on. But if you wanted to remove it, hold it together and just pull it off like that. That just locks it on. And do the same thing up at the other end, just push it on. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach that. Okay, here's our weight. I'm gonna go ahead and remove 2 Phillips screws, just back them out. Flip it over. Back out the other one. And then you should have 2 halves once you have it apart. Okay, we got one side out. There we go. That's what it looks like. Alright, we got the weight slid up, and we're going to go ahead and slowly open our supply lines. Make sure we have no leaks. Okay, before you open up your faucet, we're going to go ahead and take this off. That way we don't clog up the little sprayer there on the end. Okay, pull that down. Just go ahead and unthread your sprayer off. And then we'll slowly turn the water on, and we'll see if any debris comes out. Hear the air. Came out pretty fast. That is the cold. Now we'll do the hot side. Move it to the middle. Snug that up. Okay, let's check for any leaks. Everything looks pretty good. Alright, here's our sinkhole cover. And I also like to use a little bit of plumber's putty. I'll put that around the edge here on the bottom side. That way, whenever we tighten it down, it makes a good watertight seal. Okay, that's what it looks like with the plumber's putty on it. And we'll just go ahead and drop it in, and you want to get it centered. Just get it centered, push it down. You'll see the putty squeeze out around the edges. Then we'll clean that all up. Okay, that looks centered. So I'll go ahead and put the plate and the wing nut on there, and we'll go ahead and snug it up. Alright, that's installing a pull-out kitchen faucet. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.